Hello and welcome to my Carve a Puppet Hare tutorial mini-series. This video takes you through everything you need to make the puppet, and I have divided it into 4 main chapters. You can also download a kit list to accompany this video. On it, you will find more information on suppliers. Visit www.sarahvigarsart.com/tutorials. The hare puppet we're going to be carving is based on a jig doll. It has a single rod out of the back of the puppet, and it's very simple to operate. You can search online for examples of other jig dolls. Another main feature is that the arms rotate 360 degrees. I thought this would work really well for a boxing hare. Chapter 1. Carving Kits. The first thing you will need is a hare carving kit. These can be purchased from my online shop. Inside a hare carving kit, you will find a body carving blank, including offcuts, 2 left foot carving blanks. 1 foot is a spare, for extra carving practice if you need it. 2 right foot carving blanks, including a spare. You'll see that the right foot is a mirror image of the left foot. 2 left arm carving blanks, including a spare. I also refer to these as the front legs. 2 right arm carving blanks, including a spare. The right arm is a mirror image of the left arm. Left and right thigh carving blanks. There isn't a spare for these pieces as they're a very simple shape to carve. A colour reference sheet. A small block of wood. And a length of carbon fibre rod for the puppet control. A sheet of ear and tail templates. You can make your ears and tail from card, or you can pick your own material. A short length of braided thread for attaching the hind legs. 2 small wood screws for attaching the arms. 2 small metal washers, also for attaching the arms. 2 small strips of leather or faux leather for the knee joints on the hind legs. You can select your preference for leather or faux leather when you order a kit. 2 glass beads on wire. These are actually made from 2 separate beads, a black bead and an amber bead. 2 ear plugs and 1 tail plug for making the ears and tail, and 1 wire threader for attaching the back legs. Chapter 2. Carving tools and equipment. To carve the puppet, you will need a whittling knife, a strop, and a finger guard. Here is the whittling knife I'll be using in the tutorials. It's a flex cut detail knife, product code KN13. I highly recommend flex cut tools as they are very sharp. You could also try their KN12 cutting knife or their KN14 roughing knife. You will also need a leather strop with either some strop compound or strop paste. You'll need this to keep your knife sharp whilst carving. I will demonstrate stropping in video 2. I also recommend making a finger guard for yourself. I made this one from thin, flexible leather, sewn into a tube. This will protect the index finger on your carving hand. I'll explain more about carving safety in video 2. Chapter 3. Wood dyes, paints and oils. How you paint your puppet is up to you, but I thought I'd show you what I do. Again, you can find everything shown here on the kit list. So, to paint the hare puppet, I will be using paint brushes in a range of sizes, a cloth for mopping up excess paint or oil, acrylic paints for painting the ears, tail and control. I will use black, burnt umber and white, but you could also use yellow ochre, for example, to mix other browns. For staining the hare, I use walnut crystals dissolved in water, but I also mix it with a bit of orange water-based wood dye to create a chestnutty brown. I also use a very small amount of black wood dye. I use fine wet and dry sandpaper, 600 to 1200 grit, for adding texture to the puppet after staining. For adding white to the puppet, I also use white milk paint, but you could use acrylic paint or chalk paint. For sealing the dyes into the wood, I use Danish oil. Rustin's Danish oil is toy safe and food safe, but please refer to my allergen advice for more information on the paints, glues and oils used in these videos. This can be found at the tutorials page. For transferring dyes from the bottle, I use pipettes, and I use jar lids as paint palettes. Chapter 4. Assembly tools. There are some other tools you will need to assemble the puppet. You will need coarse and fine sandpaper. For example, I use 180 grit sandpaper, and I use wet and dry 1200 grit sandpaper. Some gaffer tape is useful, but not essential, for a mock assembly of the knee joints. A pencil is also useful, but not essential, for occasional marking up. A countersink is ideal, but not essential, for countersinking the armholes. You will definitely need a scalpel or craft knife for trimming the leather knee joints. Small narrow-nosed pliers for tying knots and for attaching the ears and tail. A bradawl, also for attaching the ears and tail. A small Phillips head screwdriver for attaching the arms. Small wire cutters for trimming the eye wires. Scissors for trimming the braided thread. A 5mm drill bit might be useful, but it's not essential, for deepening the eye sockets. You will also need some Yoo-hoo glue for gluing the knee joints, and some araldite or 2-part epoxy glue for gluing the eyes and attaching the control rod. This concludes everything you will need to make the puppet.